just directly using a pre-trained language model actually doesn't work as well as we would have thought.
Everyone who trained a model has war stories. We asked top researchers to share theirs.
So I'm Abdul Father. I am a senior applied scientist at AWS. I'm based in Berlin, and I work most on time series problems, more recently on foundation models for time series data.
And could you recall a moment from model training that didn't go as planned?
We tried to come up with basically an approach where we can use the pre-trained language model for time series forecasting. So in the beginning, we basically tried to come up with some schemes to convert time series data into something that the language model can basically use. And what we saw is that just directly using a pre-trained language model actually doesn't work as well as we would have thought. So in the end, what we ended up doing is we basically came up with a tokenization scheme for time series, which converts time series, real value time series, into something from a fixed finite vocabulary, and then basically trained a language model from scratch on these new kinds of tokens. And then it works quite well and even better than we had initially expected.
What was the very first anomaly that told you something was off?
When you compared the performance of the initial idea that we were trying with the models that are extremely simple and built for time series problems, they were just clearly performing much better. But after we actually trained the model from scratch on these kinds of tokens, time series tokens, then it actually worked better and even better than the time series specialized problems.
Was there any specific observability tooling that helped you surface the bug?
I was basically mainly just using TensorBoard at that stage. Now more recently, I've been also looking into some other tools like MLflow to do better experiment management, I guess.
Are you able to share roughly how much compute or wall clock time did it burn until you caught the issue?
With the issue specifically, I think it was just like a couple of days to figure out that something was wrong.
And is there a particular metric or set of metrics that you're now particularly keeping an eye on?
I think mostly I'm keeping an eye on the training objective and the final evaluation metrics. That said, there are also some other metrics that are critical. For example, the GPU utilization is quite critical for our use case. So I guess at some point we ran into the issue where the multi-GPU communication was not working quite well. So taking into account like how well the GPU is being utilized during the pre-training phase was also quite important, so that we don't waste a lot of compute actually training the model when it could have been trained more efficiently.